Hello, Mario! In this video, I'm going to take a look at setting the units. So that is where we set up the units that we're going to work in our drawing. Now at the moment I'm in model space. It doesn't really matter where you are if you want to set the units. Now the way that I typically do it is just to go into the command line here. Oh, I've already got the pan command in, so I'm just going to hit the space bar to stop that, and you just type units. Like so, units, and you get this thing that comes up here, the palette. So how do I set mine? Well, obviously I set mine how it is set up there, surprisingly enough. Why do I do the precision I might change a little bit, but I'm a surveyor, so I work in terms of the big picture, and typically I would have my units set to meters, because meters is my go-to unit. But setting things to meters does introduce an interesting sort of scale component to AutoCAD that, if you can avoid it, it is best to avoid it. So in this instance here, for architects and mechanical engineers, where we're dealing with smaller objects, usually objects sort of sub-meter, or even sub-20 meter, sub-30 meters perhaps, it is probably prudent to keep in millimeters, and then AutoCAD stays relatively true for you. Certainly decimals are the options. There are other options in there: engineering, fractional, scientific, and architectural. I would sort of stay away from the architectural, just leave it at decimals. Precision, up to you. I've got it there at 4 decimal places, typically 3 decimal places, which is at millimeter level, but I've got it at 4. There's no real problem at this point. We can leave it there, and we can change things if we're necessary. Now in terms of the angles, as a surveyor, I work in terms of bearings. So bearings are measured clockwise from north. I also work in degrees, minutes and seconds rather than decimal degrees. Degrees, minutes and seconds. Grads, of course, is a French system where there's 400 grads or gons in a right angle, and 400 grads or gons in a circle. The radians is a largely mathematical measure. Some engineers may work in radians and things like that, and mathematicians. And the surveyor's units, I don't use those at all, to be honest. Even though I am a surveyor, I just stick largely with decimal and meters. But and for my bearings and angles, degrees, minutes and seconds. So I have that set on degrees, minutes and seconds. Precision to the nearest second. I measure clockwise. In mathematics, the angles are usually measured anti-clockwise and from what would be east to me. But I measure my bearings clockwise from north, so that's how I set it up. So there are a number of different setups, obviously, but that sets up the whole drawing and how things are done. Very important that you do that at the start of the drawing, set up your units. Now there are other ways of accessing the units, which will possibly come to me. Oh, here we go, perhaps under utilities. There's an option there, ID point style utilities. No, it doesn't seem to be there. Measure up here, quick select, perhaps not. So I'm not quite sure where one can set up the units using the GUI, but I'm sure that as you make your way around AutoCAD, and as that becomes important to you, that you will find out some way of doing it. You might be able to do it over here. It used to be there in close, drawing utilities. There we go, it is in there. So click the red arrow, drawing utilities, and you can hit the units here. All right, and that just brings up that same little one that you get from clicking in units here. All right, and you can see that you can also type in a little space bar there, a little underscore units, which is the units with a slightly different way of operating. So we're all quite happy with that. So just do that again up there in the options menu. Oops. Oh, perhaps not. Sorry. Check that. That's how you get the options menu up here. And we can go to, oh yes, drawing utilities, units. Okay, and there's some other ones there, various things that may be helpful. One down here, I notice the drawing recovery manager, and that can be quite helpful there, just by the way, that if your computer shuts down or something happens untoward, the AutoCAD will save a copy under those circumstances. But yeah, it's something to know that there is there. Okay, so that's our units all set. Remember, just to reiterate, you can just type units down here, and you get the display palette thing there, and you can set it to whatever you like. All good. Cheers. See you.